Where are we? One sec, I'll grab a light. Yeah, I don't think this is ancient Greece. My time machine must have malfunctioned and teleported us somewhere completely different. I'll take a look outside to figure out where we are. Why the hell did it throw us so far away from the machine? Oh no. Hey, not to panic, but you don't happen to know how to operate an M4 Sherman tank, do you? Great. Okay, think logically. Surely there must be some kind of manual laying around here? Ah, speak of the devil. How to destroy a panzer tank with one well-aimed shot for dummies. Oh, well, couldn't come at a better time, right? Before we get into how to survive this deadly situation, first a quick word from our sponsor, World of Tanks. I see. See what's happening here. Very clever, you guys. Alright, let's do this then. Do you like blowing things up? You do? Great. Then I have the perfect gaming experience for you. World of Tanks. World of Tanks is a free multiplayer online game where you can drive your own tank and fight massive battles in an 8v8 battle format. There are over 800 different tanks to choose from, including tanks that are destroyers, artillery, light, medium and heavy. Join over 100 million players fighting across 40 plus maps in historically accurate tanks by simply clicking the link in the description. And don't forget to use the code COMBAT to get your hands on 250,000 credits, a Cromwell B British premium tank, 3 rental tanks for your first 10 battles, and 7 days of premium. Existing players who haven't played for 30 plus days can also get 3 days of premium, exclusive camouflage, and a 7-day rental of a premium tank. So thanks for listening and install World of Tanks for free today. Make sure to... God, does this guy ever just get to the point? To escape your situation, simply click the big red button that says fire. What? Which button? Oh, and it didn't cross your mind to tell me that? Whatever, don't say anything. Not like you do anyway. Alright, time to show that Panzer what American power feels like. Fired? What do you mean I'm fired? And which smartass installs a button in a tank that fires you on the go? No wonder the tank was empty when we got in there. You know what? Forget it. This kit is taking way too long and we still got 4 wonders to cover, so enjoy the Cold War, losers! Yeah, so fun fact, this entire huge structure is not the thing we are here for. Why we are actually here is for the thing that is inside the building, the statue of Zeus. The story why the statue was made is actually kind of childish. The people in Athens hired this one dude called Phidias to make a statue of the goddess Athena, which the aliens, no, not those in Egypt, the aliens, also known as the judges of the Olympic Games, were real jealous of. We can't have those filthy peasants east of us have a statue of a deity while we do not. So, after slipping Phidias a quick 50 gold bars, they had him also create a statue for the Olympians. Though theirs obviously had to be slightly bigger and also feature a slightly more important god than their competitors. The reason why this statue got on the list is not because it's so super impressive. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's huge and really portrays the wrath of the Father of Gods. But compared to the Great Pyramid of Giza, or the one I'll show you next, this wonder could be labeled as underwhelming. So then why is it on the list? Well, the statue portrayed more than just the king of the Greek gods. It's a symbol of the sheer awe and devotion that the ancient Greeks had for the gods. The statue of Zeus at Olympia was not merely a representation of a deity. It was a testament to the religious passion and cultural pride of the ancient people. Fancy, right? Even though the temple and the statue stood for hundreds of years, it too was destined to be slain by Father Time. Multiple earthquakes, a fire, and once again the Goths, because, you know, what else would they be doing with their spare time, caused the ancient wonder to turn into an archaeologist's wet dream. Stupid Goth girls, brr. Why can't they just leave us alone for one? You know, I watched a really fun movie the other day, where people could tell how much time they had left to live. It was so good, in fact, that I created these goggles that allow me to see that as well. For example, look over there. That is Mausoleum. He's the governor of Caria, which is basically this place in nowadays Turkey. Keep a good eye on him, because in exactly 4.3 seconds he is going to die. Geez, these glasses really are something, aren't they? Back to what we are here for. See that woman standing next to Mausoleus' corpse? That is not only his sister, but also his wife. Yeah, very before Christ-ish from them, isn't it? Anyway, she is devastated by the loss of her brother/husband, and wants to make sure his burial is done flawlessly in honor of his wishes, which he made clear to her before he kicked the bucket. His wish of final resting place, though, wasn't a simple grave next to a cherry blossom tree in his hometown or something. No. He wanted a massive tomb in the middle of Caria's capital city, Halicarnassus, to forever immortalize his greatness in our history. Spoiler alert, so she did. And Mausoleus' widow and sister made sure to spare no expense. She hired the most skilled architects and artisans from Greece to work on this masterpiece of a building. The mausoleum was decorated with complex sculptures and stunning carvings, showcasing the talent of renowned artists that I could name, but you would forget anyway. What, you think you won't forget them? Here they are: Scopas, Bryaxis, Timotheus, and Leocharis. I sincerely hope you memorized them just now, because I will test you when we are done with our little adventure. Standing at a lot of meters, this wonder of the ancient world was a sight to behold. Its layers consisted of a base, iconic columns, a tiered pyramid, and a beautiful statue of Mausoleus and Artemis riding a chariot on top. A perfect final resting place for a governor with a lot of money. Fun fact, this wonder is where the word mausoleum comes from. So, thank you Mausoleus, very cool. As a change of pace, the mausoleum did not get destroyed by goth girls, and as a matter of fact, it survived, honestly, a lot. It survived Alexander the Great, aggressive pirates, even fires. But it couldn't survive our good old friend Mr. Earthquake, who decided to knock it down to the first level around the year 1100. Now, surprisingly, after all of that, the temple actually remained for quite some more time. Till the year 1494 in fact. That is just over 500 years ago, making it the second longest standing world wonder, with the Great Pyramid in first place of course. The final blow done to the mausoleum wasn't done by an earthquake, but instead by a dozen holy knights who were terrified of the Ottoman Empire attacking their castle. So they decided to break whatever was left from the wonder apart and use those stones to reinforce their hideout. Now, if they managed to heroically fight the Ottomans off with an epic battle and important victory, I would be okay with them breaking the 1700 years old wonder apart. But no, they got absolutely destroyed. To be honest, what were they thinking? The Ottoman Empire was massive at that time, and they thought the 80 of them could stop their advance? Yeah, quite a boring one-sided siege that happened here. Wanna hear a story about an insane siege though? The Colossus of Rhodes. This massive 30 meters tall bronze and iron statue was made to celebrate a significant military victory that the people of Rhodes achieved and to praise the sun god Helios, who they believed had helped them win it. To keep it easy to follow, allow me to oversimplify what happened here in this conflict. After Alexander the Great conquered all of this territory, he decided to die. Understandable, we all have to do that one day. But he didn't appoint an heir that would inherit all of this territory. So instead, it was divided among his generals. And what do generals like to do? They like to wage wars amongst each other. One of those internal conflicts was between the Antigonid dynasty and the small independent city-state and island of Rhodes. Because Rhodes was a major center of commerce and trade in the Eastern Mediterranean, it was a massive money generator, which made it very interesting for Demetrius, the ruler of the Antigonid dynasty, so he decided that he wanted to take it. The Rhodians, anticipating the attack, fortified their defenses and sought alliances with states around them, including the Kingdom of Egypt. However, those alliances didn't stop the war from happening. And in the year 304 before Christ, Demetrius started the siege that would result in a beautiful bronze colossus. Even though the Rhodians were heavily outnumbered, because the city of Rhodes was well fortified and surrounded by hilly terrain, they managed to hold the Antagonists off for many months on end. But then, just like in a video game, there had to come a final boss. Meet the Taker of Cities. A massive siege tower designed by the great Demetrius himself to be used to finally take down the walls of Rhodes. The tower stood over 40 meters tall and 20 meters wide and housed a whopping 16 ballistas spread across its 7 floors. Not to mention, had a massive crew of over 3,400 soldiers in battle. But even this monstrous Tower of Death couldn't break the spirit nor walls of the Rhodians. And after finally receiving help from the allied Egyptians, the Rhodians managed to break free from the siege and ended their 1-year period of constant bombardment. The Antagonists' chaotic retreat resulted in almost all of their war equipment, including their hellish tower, to be left on the island. And what better thing to do with all that metal and bronze than to build a massive colossus of Rhodes' iconic god. This is by far my favorite ancient wonder. But it is also the shortest lived wonder, as only 56 years after it being built, it broke its ankles and collapsed onto the floor, where it remained as a tourist attraction for another 800 years. And yes, this wonder as well ended up being looted and stripped down. A little bit off topic, right? But why can't more cities build magnificent structures or massive statues of important figures? As a matter of fact, why is nothing nice being built nowadays? Everything we built has turned dull and repetitive for the sake of economic benefits. The people of Rhodes survived a massive year-long siege which ruined the economy and infrastructure of the island. And yet, they chose not to sell all of that war equipment and instead melted most of it down to create a huge statue to celebrate the Rhodian pride and victory. Culture is pretty cool, you know. You'll miss it someday. Welcome to the final 7th wonder of our time-traveling journey, the Lighthouse at Alexandria. It's the youngest ancient world wonder of them all, as it was built in the year 280 BC, which also means if you were alive in this day and age, you would be able to visit all the wonders we covered before, just as you would be able to visit this one. And hell, even the World Trade Center is still here. No, I'm not making that joke, it's too cheap. So, picture this. A big coastal city with an even bigger and busier harbor. Ships with unimaginable wealth enter the city in masses to sell their goods and make even more money than they already have. It's a good life. At least, during bright clear summer days it is. During these stormy nights, it's a whole different story. In a day and age where not exactly everyone has a degree in sailing, it was quite frequent that ships ended up crashing into each other or onto shore due to their bad visibility. It also didn't help that the harbor of Alexandria wasn't exactly easy to get in and out to, though it was very easily defended from pirates. One day, the rich people of Alexandria were like, what if we built a lighthouse on that rock over there, to make sure merchants can get into our harbor easily, making it more attractive for them to come to our city in general. The design of the lighthouse can be split into 3 levels. A square base, followed by a cylindrical middle section, and as a cherry on top, a cylinder where the light will be emitted from. Such a huge 130 meters tall lighthouse obviously needed to also shine a huge amount of light. And because electricity wasn't going to be invented for another 2000 years, unless if you live close to the pyramids, they had to come up with a different but clever solution to generate that much light anyway. The solutions to this problem were mirrors, lenses and polished bronze, which all massively enhanced the light of the single wood-fueled flame at the top of the lighthouse. The light ended up being so bright in fact, that it was the brightest man-made light created at that time, and it helped hundreds if not thousands of ships every day to navigate to the port of the city. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why did they go all out on this super expensive lighthouse that ended up costing roughly $100 million in nowadays money, if they could have also made a normal lighthouse and still would have achieved the goal of aiding the merchants to their city? Well, to show that they are a better mercantile city than their competitors, of course. Be honest with me, right? Where would you rather go? To a city with a big lighthouse and beautiful light? Or to a city with a small lighthouse with a pathetic normal amount of light? Which way, modern man? Exactly. Like moths, the merchants swarmed the city and lighthouse in masses, which made the Alexandrian elites even richer than they originally were. Impressive stuff. What was also impressive though, is for how long it stood for. Though there were many earthquakes that chipped down the wonder. The Lighthouse of Alexandria ended up staying for a whopping 1500 years, till one day the final earthquake knocked the lighthouse down. And then everyone crashed their boats and died. That final thing I might have just made up. And thus we conclude our wonderful journey through time. Now, for the killer question that you've been dying to ask me. Do I think that all the ancient world wonders are better than the current 7 world wonders? No. The Great Wall of China, for example, is way more impressive than the statue of Zeus. And with all but one of the ancient wonders destroyed, it makes sense to fill in those gaps with the new ones. But once again, why is the Pyramid of Giza not one of the 7? I call for another vote on what the new wonders of the world should be. Now, before I let you go, there's just one small thing left for us to do. Remember when I dared you to memorize the names of the 4 renowned artists who worked on the mausoleum? Well, here we are. What were their 4 names? Oh, you can't remember? They were Scopas, Bryaxis, Timotheus, and Leocaris. How could you possibly forget? I even told you to remember them. Surely you remember the name of the pharaoh that lays inside the Great Pyramid? Pharaoh Khufu? No, you don't either? Seriously, do you remember anything I told you? You know what? It doesn't matter. I cannot let you walk away knowing that time traveling is a real thing. Plus, your time is about to run out anyway. So thanks for joining me on my journey and, well, truth is, the game was rigged from the start.